We know from change management literature that 70% of change initiatives fail. That's a huge number, but I think it has to do with two things. One, I don't think we take the organization's culture into account. And two, we don't engage the right folks. So we think about how some people are just resistors, they're obstacles to what we want to do. But the reality is, and I believe truly, people do not wake up in the morning and think to themselves, how am I going to ruin Liz's day? How am I going to make her life difficult? I just don't think people do that. When they're resisting change, they tend to be resisting it for a reason. Now, if you're the person who's organizing the change, that can be super frustrating. I get it. But I think there are 5 steps that you can take to really think about how do I take this person or this group of people and move them from being obstacles to being partners? So, 5 things to think about. One, understand what is it that they're protecting? Usually when people resist something, it's because they're trying to preserve something that they already have. So maybe there's some knowledge or relationships or practices that really mean something to them. And they're seeing your change as being a threat. And so they're protecting whatever that is to try to preserve it. And understanding what it is and why it's important can help you figure out how to engage them more actively and to make sure that those things are being protected in ways that work for both you and for the broader organization. The second thing I think we can do is listen more. Listen before we implement. They're resisting again for a reason. So engaging with folks, engaging with the network to understand what's their perspective, what is their expertise. Maybe there are things that they're concerned about that we didn't even think about in our rollout process. Those are things worth exploring. So the third thing is we want to make them a co-creator and not a recipient of change. The reality is most people are pretty okay with change as long as they're in control of it. Nobody likes anything done to them. But if they're a co-creator in that process, then we can help bring both visions, the organization's vision and the resisting group, if you will, their visions together to design a solution that works for everybody, or at least we can begin to communicate why this change is so important. The fourth piece, I think, is to recognize that they have social capital, they have value within the organization. And so we want to acknowledge the relationships and the trust that they've built and honor ways to try to find that investment. And then the last tip I would offer is that our ultimate goal here is to transform resistors into advocates. So we want people to feel seen, we want them to feel heard, we want them to know that we value their expertise. And maybe we can't do everything that they want, but we want them to be a strong supporter and make sure that they understand why some of these changes need to happen. So I would encourage you to think about if you're going through a change initiative right now, who or what groups are obstacles and how do we transform them from being an obstacle to being a partner in our process?